Welcome back with MB Home Gals with Becky and Lori, and we've had a very good friend of ours and partner join us, Matt Hemberger with the WIG Group of Fairway Mortgage here in New Braunfels. And we talked to you a little bit about the importance of a pre-qual,
Right.
because we don't want to take you to drive a Cadillac when it's not in your price range. There's a whole reason for that. But we've also told you that they're an advocate for you, and that Matt and his team are here to talk to you about your different options.
Yeah, help guide you through that
Help
process.
guide you through. There's lots of different loan products, right?
There are. So yes, thanks for having me, by the way.
Yeah.
So our role is kind of twofold. So we have the financial analysis piece, and then we also have, I use this analogy with people because they think that a mortgage is a mortgage is a mortgage. And so they'll call and say, I just need to apply for a mortgage, and we'll start asking some questions to figure out what's the right loan program for the client. And at that point, they've usually gone online and read a handful of things,
Right.
some of which are
Those
right.
teaser line kind
Yeah,
of deals.
yeah.
Yes.
And so they may think they know what they want or what they qualify for or what they need to be doing in terms of a mortgage. And so we try never to squash that from the get-go and say, oh no, that's not your loan program, this is for you. So we do a couple of things. One, we gently ask questions, and we're gathering information, both in documentation form and trying to find out the goals of the client to find out what loan program is going to fit. And I explained from the get-go that loan programs are a lot like the deodorant aisle at the grocery store. So hang with me. So
My mind went
to somebody that's going shopping for deodorant that doesn't know all the different types of deodorant, you just think you're going to the deodorant aisle and I just need deodorant. But when you get in there and you figure out that some of them have a color and some of them don't, some of them are roll-on, some of them are spray, some of them are just for sweaty people, some of them are for stinky people, and some of them are for the sweaty and the stinky person. But there are different deodorant types, and there's a ton of them.
Right.
And so mortgage is a little bit like that. So our role really is to listen to the client, find out whether they're stinky or smelly, or neither, and really hone in on explaining the different loan programs. And that conversation may look like, let's talk about how much money that you have to put down or don't. We have some information typically on their credit score that gives us a little bit of information. Then we have their financial goals. Then we have things like their limiting factors. They have no money, they don't have family. Are there loan programs that offer a down payment for somebody that has nothing
Or
to
for
put
a
down?
relative kind of deal.
Correct.
And the documentation required for that.
Yeah.
Specific. There's a lot.
Yeah. So there's a lot that we do in really honing in with what we feel is best from a financial perspective. And then what they're telling us and what's going to fit. And then there are certain loan programs that people just simply don't qualify for. So they may want this type of loan, but their credit score pulls them away from being able to do that. And so it's either here's what we would need to do to go this direction, or this is the loan program for you if buying a home within the next 30, 60, 90 days is a goal for you.
Right.
So
it's still client driven, but you're the decider. It's your money. Just like we're not going to talk you into a specific house, but we're going to educate you.
Right. You could tell them that they're qualified up to 350, but ideally, where they want to stay is kind of in that 250 range, so you can educate them.
Right.
And in turn,
Which we've talked about before. Matt's not going to say, "Oh, take them to 350." It's like this is where we want the price, our monthly to look like.
Right.
We're going to be very,
And that's a huge point. So one of the things that we really try to do as a local lender, and I say that a non-big box store or just a bank, because the banks typically do a lot more marketing than we do, and we are on the ground working with agents and buyers, typically in a local community. And it's a different type of experience, but we'll get people that have gone through an online process with their bank or a call center, and they say, hey, I've gotten pre-qualified up to X. And then in our process, I don't just slap a number down for them on a piece of paper and send it to the agent and say, hey, go shopping, because we don't want a client to come back and say, hey, we bought this 350 house, or we've written a contract, and I tell them what their monthly payment is, and they go, oh my gosh, we can't afford that.
Right.
So our budget guidance starts with questions to the client. One, what does our down payment look like? 2, what does our monthly payment budget look like? Or 3, or maybe a combination of all of these, where have you been looking? Most people by the time they get to us or to you
They're
have
shopping
been
already.
online.
Yeah, they kind of have an idea.
And they know they think that they would like to be in this range. And so I ask them those 3 questions: monthly payment, and if they go, well, I don't know, I need you to tell me that. We can do that. I can tell you what I think is, we'll call it conservative, and then where I think that you need to hit the panic button and back up a little bit. And then I'll ask about down payment. That may dictate what the pre-qualification amount looks like.
Right.
And then lastly, I usually go, what is it that you're looking at right now? If you were to buy the home that you looked at online last night or the day before, what is that price point? And that's a starting point for us to simply say, here's what I think you're envisioning. Here's what that looks like from a monthly payment, cash to close, down payment perspective. And does that match where you feel like
Which
you
is
need
huge, because a lot of people don't have any concept of what a monthly payment in a $250 or $350 range could be.
Not an accurate one, because
Right.
they'll grab one online.
Right.
Of course.
We fight that all the time.
I know, and we talk about that every time that we talk to a buyer. Like, we're not against big banks, but that is somebody working 9 to 5, just at the top of the list. Here's the file, here we go, and it says pre-qualified, and then they really get into it, and they're not. Actually, Lori and I have experienced that on the deal together.
Into the contract phase, and that not be the case. So,
and it was a large bank, and so
that groundwork ahead of time and up front is.
We feel confident with a
Paramount.
local lender that we can say.
Someone that you're going to run into in the grocery store, and that's going to
Exactly.
have your business for not only for this transaction, but for all of your home buying and selling needs forever. So
There's a lot of confidence that comes
Yes.
with that offer when you work with a local lender. So
Yeah, it's just it's a different process, and I explain that like you said, there's nothing wrong or inherently bad about a big bank, and some people have excellent experiences.
Yeah, of course.
And there are some loan programs that big banks offer that we can't touch, and vice versa. The experience is a little bit different,
Right.
and that is, from the get-go, we're usually a little bit more involved with the client. We have a little bit more skin in the game, because we don't get to advertise that we have checking accounts and banking accounts.
Right.
Checking and savings accounts and insurance.
Right.
All we do is mortgage, and all of our business is word of mouth or referral based.
Right.
And so it is in our best interest to never put a client or an agent in a position where we've said yes, or we've said this is the budget, and then have to back away from that,
Right.
because we didn't do a deep dive up front to make sure that we were right.
yeah, and we appreciate that. So that's how the lender is a part of your team in the buying process.